Well, they had a guessing game of what I would do when I retired, when we had a meal once. And someone said, oh, you're going to go and fight Russia and fly drones. The other answers were even crazier, shooting pirates off the coast of Somalia and things like that. So I don't think anyone who knew me was all that surprised. Yeah. So we have our drones. You can tell those. They sound like light aircraft. The Shaheds, everybody knows the nickname mopeds. And then the high-pitched are interceptors. And it's important, obviously, to know the difference. Hitting the far distance, and you can tell by the length of time it takes how far away that is. There we go. Nearly 30 seconds. Maybe 10 kilometres. So, change of personnel. My friend Scrat's gone on leave. This is my friend Miko, Ukrainian friend.
Hi.
He has a wife and a dog in Kyiv. His dog misses him very much. Not sure about the wife.
But I have 2 cats also.
Oh, 2 cats, but they don't give a shit. Cats never ever do. Hi, my name is Shadow, and I'm from London in England. I am ex-military, a few years in the infantry. Since then, I've kind of kept my hand in policing, being an armed officer, etc. So there's nothing secret about my military experience, but it was in the 90s. I was an infantry officer, and I did 3 tours of Northern Ireland, which is low intensity counter-terrorism work in support of policing. In terms of how kinetic it was, it does not compare to Iraq and Afghanistan that the people who came after me did. And as we know, Iraq and Afghanistan does not compare to what's happened here. So I went out, tested my physical ability, still if I could still do it. It's one thing being gym fit, it's a completely different thing to fight a campaign. So I did stuff like running with Bergens and then across the Cairngorms in really, really bad conditions. And once I knew I could do that, not just survive, but be a useful member of the team, I kind of decided, right, I should go. So after the physical side of things, where I knew I could do the job again, the hard bit is explaining to your wife why you want to go. And it was certainly in the early days, what the Russians were doing was well known throughout the country. It was newsworthy all the time. That has dropped off recently because the world is so chaotic, but that doesn't mean it's not been carried on. So she understood straight away. And I think everybody asks the same question, and it comes down to who you think you are. I've spent my career fighting bad guys. The Russians are the ultimate bad guy in this scenario. And someone has to step up, and if it's not me, who's it going to be? Hi guys, preparation to go on mission. Because my kit's already out there, it's basically what I stand up in today. I would like to point out, first off, the body armour they issue in the brigade, pretty good. It's not just about the plates. Because of the drone war, everybody knows this, shrapnel is far, far greater threat than bullets. So, it's got neck armour, neck's obviously very, very vulnerable because of the veins, it's also got groin armour, the coverage is good. And in addition to that, you have an armoured battle belt, like so. On that, it's got 2 tourniquets, 1 each hip in my case, 2 further tourniquets in the first aid kit, and there's another one in my assault pack. First aid kit, 3rd Assault Brigade, absolutely excellent for TAC Med as it's known here. In the pack itself, a couple of chest seals, a couple of packets of quick clot, all the bandages you'd need, the scissors and everything to do it. They spend more time on that than any other subject in BZ repair, and from my friend's experience, it pays dividends. So they equip you well, they train you well to look after yourself and your friends. Kazivac it's a real problem here because of the threat of drones. Every Kazovac now from the front line is a mission that needs to be carefully planned, involving ground drones, a lot of coordination. The days of rocking up in a pickup, maybe back in 2022, long gone. So invest in first aid, invest in the training, and they do. So most of my food is already out there, but the Englishman's survival kit, tea. In this case it's Earl Grey, but there's already English breakfast tea out there. Vitally important. Everything that's happened has been a complete accident. I had a position with another unit expecting to be an assaulter, and 3 days before I was due to come, I'd had flights and everything booked, accommodation. They pulled the plug saying, "Oh, you're too old for us." And I was very lucky that the recruiter thought, yeah, I could still do the job, put me in touch with 3rd Assault. So I arrived having to do a fitness test on day 1 and then just went into the program. From there, I really did want to work in a Ukrainian unit. Large groups of foreigners have their own automatic limitations. Communication, obviously. So I did want to do that. I'm also a guy who's been in a small team environment. I didn't want to be a big organisation. And when I missed out on a chance of like a recce assault unit, I actually leveraged a contact to try and get myself an interview. I was back in London recovering from an injury and dealing with a personal issue, and I missed that. So I've leveraged a friend, and out of the blue, after my CV was put out, someone from Air Defence said, "Oh yeah, you might be interested in us." So I spoke to him and we talked about the various options, and I said, yeah, combat role, and from there it's ended here.
Ти як старша позиція виходиш, так? Так старшого позиції зима.
Так а що в мене сама?
Ну, красивого, молодого.
So I work in what's called a drone interceptor team, which is new technology, and Ukraine is clearly the world leader, and other countries have been finding out the importance.
Лети по азімуту 218.
Basically, if your enemy is throwing $70,000 missiles at you, you can't use interceptors costing $3 million to take each one down. So Ukraine, with its innovative ways, came up with a low-cost solution, and they are drone interceptors. So that's what I do. And the technology's only a little bit of a year old. I did a drone course in Ukrainian. It was an interesting few days, really interesting few days. But I'm a technician on that team, which means getting the drones ready, making sure they're charged. There's a certain amount of technical background you need, but not a massive amount. So the routine that we've got is like we rotate for the positions. So when you're back in your home city, you're decompressing, doing your laundry, also going to the range, maybe getting a couple of new skills, maybe using drone simulators, but generally low stress, although you might get some missions to help on resupplies, and you're preparing for your next deployment. When we're on deployment, especially when we set up the position and then had to take it all apart, that would be hard work, and you'd work 18, 20-hour days. Just setting everything up, making sure all the drones are charged, and then you get into a routine. British drink tea with milk, and we can maybe manage 5 days with milk before it goes off. Then we need a resupply, or we go to Ukrainian style with only sugar. There's no problem getting sugar in Ukraine. The food, too sweet for a Ukrainian taste, has not yet been invented. I love my team. I think they're great. My commander actually gave me a designated friend. Right, you're going to be Shadow's friend and you're going to look after him. So he has a lot of work to do. He spoke excellent English, that's why I'm on that team. There's another guy, another really good guy who spoke some English. And then there's the pilot who spoke no English at the start, but he's already better than me at than I am at Ukrainian, because he just picks it up really quickly. So the team is really good. And I can't emphasize that enough. The sort of level of their knowledge, their skills, their adaptability, and being easy to work with. And that applies to the rest of the battery as well. It's not just my immediate team. When we meet the others, they're really nice. The number of times they apologize for not being able to speak good English. I feel really guilty about that. I'm trying with a language we should be speaking in Ukrainian here.
Він на ломаному українському теж говорить, щоб на англійському говорив, щоб понімав. Nice milk, very good milk.
Hang on. Normally in my job, because of the ranges involved, we don't get to see the results of our work. Sometimes you do hear it in the distance, you hear the Shahed or Khabera being hit. But there was one particular night a couple of months ago that was a really big wave, and you've got multiple interceptor teams, multiple guns firing tracer, and we can see them all, and including some of our own interceptions. And a Shahed going off 400 or 500 meters over your head is the best firework ever. It really is very, very impressive. And we're also standing there doing our work when someone opened up with a machine gun just going over our heads, which we didn't know about. Well, I can confirm that bullets do sound a bit like bees as they go over your head. So that was I wish I'd filmed it, because you see the battles over Kyiv, it looked like that on that occasion, and that's not every night. I don't think anyone in Western Europe expected us to be here. I mean, I can remember Britain's most senior soldier saying, the era of peer-on-peer war is over. Warfare will be expeditionary forces putting out fires, counter-terrorist work. And yet here we are in the middle of the 2020s with a major, major war, which could spread and could carry on. Russia certainly has the desire. It's whether it has the capability. So 10 years ago, no, I didn't expect to be in a war. Maybe 2022? Yeah, that's the first time I thought my life will be in a war. It's an unusual retirement, put it that way. That just because something isn't in the news now, because something else has displaced it, doesn't mean it's still happening. Everything that happened around Bucha, Mariupol, with the theatre and murder of children, it's Russian state policy. And the moral case to be here is overwhelming. This I described right at the start. I'm going to say my generations, but maybe it's the generation after me. It's our Spanish Civil War. It is as close to good, pure good versus pure evil as can be. A lot of wars have happened over history, and there are arguments between nations over territory and not minor things, but it hasn't been a battle between good and evil. This, like the Second World War, is a battle between good and evil. And if you don't believe that, at least think of your self-interest. Russia isn't going to stop here. It's already going to plan to attack Estonia. It's already sowing the propaganda seeds of conflict. They thought the same in Moldova as well. Russia is a revanchist, imperialist power, and Putin wants the borders of the Soviet Union again. So even if you cannot see the moral case, by self-interest, be on the right side.